And we're live? No, we're not live.
No.
We are alive, but we're not live. Welcome to our webcast. This time it will be in English because we have two special guests with us. Norma, Delaney, Garret, Annofsky. And they're not the only guests. We are here with a full room of people. Maybe you want to scream and shout a little bit. Now we've got proof that we're not alone in the room, faking that we have an audience. That's truly an audience. And this time we wanted to do something special. We want to dedicate this complete hour to interviewing our American guests and sharing that with you, sharing the questions, sharing the answers, and sharing the breath, but also sharing the breath with all of the people who are here. So keep breathing because it's a very big energy.
Yes. Most of the people, of course, obviously here do know Norma and Garret, but not maybe everyone at home watching. So let's call you the Queen of Breath.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because we do talk a lot about breathing during the webcast, and it's one of your grandest passions to do. So we might start with a question, which is not really a question, but more, did you start breathing, like conscious breathing, of course, because everybody say, but I do breathe. Yeah.
Conscious breathing came as a result of meeting, working, playing with Kuan Yin. She was very sweet and asked me, it is time for us to assist your students, your clients, in breathing. And I must admit, I laughed. I laughed very big and said, they're already breathing. She said, and now we are going to help them consciously breathe. The breathing of choosing to live. Because the first key in conscious breathing is you are committing, you are choosing to live. Without realizing it, most humans are choosing to live a little bit while maybe choosing to kind of die a little bit, like I'll be here a little, but this is making a very conscious, big choice. I choose to live. And so the first time, she had me just walk around every day. I choose to live, I choose to live, I choose to live. And I said, I sound like an idiot. She said, keep it up. I choose to live. And as I did that, and I heard my voice, choose to live, something began to shift in me. A new commitment of ownership to be in my body, to be in my life. And as we began to practice it together, for she over and over said, we have to fill you first. You must become so full of life, of the passion for living. Only then can your radiance reach out to touch the others. And so one by one, we began to work and invite them. Let's breathe together. Let's choose to live. And so it began over 20 years ago.
Yes. And now I'm a little bit the devil's advocate. Because there are also people who say, yeah, but I live because I'm not dead.
Yeah.
You know? So it's the same with breathing. I breathe because otherwise I will die. So
that's true.
There is a difference between seeing, okay, I'm alive because I'm not dead, and the living you are just sharing with us. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes. As I mentioned, that is called surviving. You can hyperventilate, you can, and most people don't realize they are hyperventilating. They're breathing in this upper region, which is the fear region, because the mind is constantly speaking in fear terms. So you breathe a little bit, you hyperventilate a little bit, and it's called surviving. And most humans, whether they're aware of it or not, are surviving until they commit, truly choose. I choose to live, to be here, to connect with my soul, to be who I truly am, not the shallowness of this saying, this is what we are, this is what we do, and blah, blah, blah. And it's a very hyperventilating breathing. I am not making it good or bad. It has its purpose. But for those of us who are committed consciously to choosing the fullness of living, to be connected with our soul fully, it is a very different experience.
And Garret, one moment in the past you start breathing consciously as well. Can you share an experience you have had when you start breathing consciously with your soul, sharing about something which you experienced in your life?
Well, I was in the beginning supporting her in the breathing work, and I was just kind of doing the technical stuff because I was afraid to speak in front of a group, even in private. She would say, oh, come up in the front and say something. No, I'll stay in the back and support you. But we did our first Awana school, and about 4 days into it, I really got it. I said, I will do whatever it takes to let my soul express through me. And that was when I had the first bout of cancer. And this was where I learned to breathe. First of all, to keep the body alive, but most importantly, to bring my spirit alive. Because it was a drastic situation, but when you're laying in a hospital bed, nothing out there mattered. The only important thing was to begin to breathe, to keep the body alive, and breathe to bring my soul alive into the body. I had nothing else to distract me. So that was the beginning of my conscious breath. But the conscious part is breathing with your essence. Yes, we breathe every day. The oxygen keeps the blood flowing, etc., etc. But the conscious breath is consciously bringing my essence into expression in this body.
I once had the experience when I was a kid to hyperventilate. So my mother said, okay, we're going to a breath coach.
Oh.
It was a long time ago. And the man who did the breathing coach thing, he said, okay, when you breathe through your belly, then things will change. And it had to do also with feeling panic and feeling fears. And so there was a way of, he let me breathe into my belly again. Yeah. But of course, when I learned and hear about the conscious breath, there were a lot of differences, and it keeps unfolding, So I learned that it was not about the rule of breathing, it was not about the mind who say, okay, you need to breathe, but I learned that it had to do with the love affair for me. Yeah. And when you share your story, being in a situation where you are sick, have nothing else but the bed you're laying in, it's kind of a creation where you learn to love you more.
Yeah, and I don't recommend for everybody to do it that way, but for me, it was the gift of my lifetime. Because in a few brief hours, I was able to let go of so much that didn't matter in my life and begin to focus on what was really important in my life. Now, I'm learning to do it a little more gently, a little less dramatically. And so now we even have well, just a couple of days ago, we got over here and our Kuan Yin was broken from in the suitcase. So we said, okay, let's get another Kuan Yin. Well, the first thing was take the conscious breath to come back to be in the center. We went to look, and when you go into the stores around here in Holland, not too many people are familiar with Kuan Yin. So, nope, come back to the breath. We mentioned it to them, they said, oh, you can borrow ours. Okay, come back to the breath. We went to another store finally, and then we have so many Kuan Yins now available to us that so you begin to experience the power of letting soul bring to you what is required in the moment. And so this just then fuels, well, wow, this is great, let's do it, let's do something, you know, you just want more of this sweetness of the soul, not the suffering of an ordinary life.
And breathing is also helping us to really be in your body, to sink deeper in your core. Kind of silly question, but why do we need to be in our body? And why is it so good to sink deeper in your core?
Funny thing, many people have forgotten they were, we call them an angel, before they became a human. Isn't that a funny joke? But in order to feel, you need a body. Isn't that funny? Angels don't feel like we do. We have this mechanism called skin that is created to allow us to feel. And so because the angel self, the soul self, has come into a body, now it can taste, yum yum. It can feel the softness. This is why I often urge you, hug a puppy, hug a kitty, smell a flower. This is a part of the participating, experiencing living, not walking through asleep, but experiencing. So soul said, well, if I'm in a body, I notice, I can feel, taste, smell, experience. The senses operate. The senses that are built into this mechanism called a body, and we develop this sensing, sensuous, very different way of experiencing living. Do you see? And it only happens as you come into the body. When Kuan Yin in the beginning wanted me to teach people to breathe, she said, you know, a long time ago, when we first tried to get people to breathe in their belly, they couldn't find their belly. And so she said, we put a little marker, and you call it a belly button. So she said, tell them where that spot is. That's your belly. We want you to breathe there. But she said a key piece of that is it's connected where your umbilical cord was, where you were attached to Mama in the beginning. In the beginning was that little egg. What do you think your soul, the spark of life, the spark that you are, was in that egg? The whole thing started from there, and look how big you grew, and here we are. But she said that's where we seem to be attached in the beginning. She said, I'm sitting right here. Come, let your breath come and be with me. And as we felt this exquisite rhythm, the sweet vibration. It's a vibrational change as you allow this to slow down and move away from here, to move here, and to feel. She said it is like when the sea comes to kiss the shore. It is like you come for me to kiss you once more. And we began this rhythmic breathing, giving and receiving the love that she offered as I was willing to receive it. And so it was all going in through here. She said, if you notice a brand new baby when they are first born, that little belly just starts going, yes, I'm choosing to live. Yes, I want to live. All of that continues until it begins to notice and listen and want to copy its parents who are hyperventilating. And it stops breathing here and starts going like this, just like the parents. I can't be afraid and hyperventilate. So we are only reminding you to breathe as you did before you became afraid.
What we heard a lot from you is about being the living example. Is about showing the connection with your own soul and being a living example. Now for anyone here or the people who are watching, and for us as well of course, why would my soul be interested in being a living example to other people?
Only because it's so fun. I am having so much fun living this way out of the fearfulness that I'm just saying, if you want to have more fun, you could do it too. So often the belief is you have to be special. There's only a few special people on the planet. We had Buddha, we had Jesus, we had those few but you can't be special. You see, I didn't know we were going for this integration, this becoming the living. I didn't know that was our game. I was so busy having fun, playing, breathing, connecting. I thought I'm just having fun with her. I had no idea we were transforming me to becoming a living example of how do you live in a very different way, a joyous way of truly living, not surviving. I did not notice the joyousness that was consuming me. So I didn't want to just tell people, you could be happier. I wanted to live it and let them notice. And it's like, if you like how I'm doing this, you can do it too. Just for the joy of it.
So I think that, and we were mentioning earlier in the day, that this experience of coming through earth and being in a body, once a soul completes this experience, it is like no other soul in creation. It has been transformed by having had this experience on earth. So I think my soul, I'll speak for myself, is anxious to have this experience firsthand. Previous lifetimes, yes, it has watched a body have the experience, but from my perspective, this lifetime, it wants to be here firsthand, in person, and so it would love the body to welcome and invite it in for its transformation and for the human's transformation as well.
Well, I'm going to ask you a yes but question. Yes, but what's in it for me, the human? What's in it for me? Am I just the lab rat of my soul? Or what is in it for me? Is it
Well,
making me richer? Is it
Oh.
making me more beautiful? How can we sell it to people?
I agree, there are times I have felt like a lab rat, like a guinea pig. But when one actually begins to allow the soul to come into the body, and you feel, instead of the stress and struggle, you feel the peace and gratitude. Instead of the pain and suffering that goes on in most humans' lives, you feel the joy of having the privilege of having the body. So the body begins to realize, wow, life is much nicer than it was before I had the soul in the body. So life becomes more, less stressful, even magical. And I say that word magical because the mind doesn't understand it, and yet it happens.
So the mind calls it must be magic.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing sense of joyfulness. And I tell people, if you like how your life is, by heaven, don't change. That's the key. Be honest with you. You don't have to change. I'm not saying something is wrong. If your life is flowing and you're in this joyousness and everything, by all means, keep it up. All I'm saying is, if it's not working that way, you could go for plan B. I'm plan B. And that's all we're proposing. You don't have to. Do you see the difference? It's only because you notice. Are you willing to allow more?
Yes, that brings me to a flavor of soul, which we call compassion. Compassion is something you demonstrate and invite people to allow in their lives, in your schools, workshops, webcasts, etc. Can you share something about your journey into compassion? Where to start?
Yeah. When Kuan Yin said we are going to be compassion, teach compassion, of course I had to run to the dictionary to look it up and go, what is this thing called compassion? I did not know that word. I can assure you your dictionary is wrong. That is a mind translation, and the pureness of compassion has no sympathy, no empathy, no doing of any kind. It is such a stillness. We had the gift of being asked to work with a lady who was a severely traumatized multiple personality. And every single day that I worked with her and her horrific stories, Kuan Yin would invite me, stay right here. Stay so very still. For if you are listening from here, in the pure, compassionate stillness that comes from souls receiving, there will be no vibration emanating from me. She was so traumatized and brutalized by life. If I had had one part of me filled with judgment, fear, anything from this realm, she would have run away. our compassion allowed us to stay in the pure receiving. Soul never judges, receives you just as you are, in the perfection, just as you are. Little did I know, day after day, receiving the perfection of her allowed me to begin to receive me very differently. For this journey into compassion is about falling so in love with self that all I see, all I feel is pure acceptance, compassion, honoring of who and what I am, not when I change, not when I am different, but just as I am.
And many times the human thinks of compassion as an emotion. Oh, I have compassion for you. But ultimately, compassion is just the acceptance and knowing that all is well in all of creation, just as it is. It's the complete acceptance that I am perfect just as I am, here, now, in this moment.
Well, that adds up to another question. What we notice in our workshops, and probably also other people notice it in their own work, is people trying to get better. They want to get healed. They want to solve the problems they think they have. And most of spirituality also in Holland, because we are in Holland, is that of course we get these people and they want a solution. They want a solution for a quick fix.
Yes.
And what you're sharing here is of a complete different quality, a different flavor, starting with you are already perfect as you are, and most people stop there.
Yes.
Because, okay, I'm perfect, I'm done.
Yes.
But then there is this invitation to move on and get more and more and more. And we notice that it's quite a challenge for people to move past that point of first accepting I'm perfect, and then, okay, I'm perfect here with my soul, what's next?
Yes.
They cannot foresee that or foretell that.
Yes. Because they are saying I am perfect from here, they are not feeling the perfection. When you feel the perfection, it's because you are in this compassion that sees nothing, feels nothing but perfection. Most humans, I hate to say it, but most humans are trained to be good little robots. Mommy and daddy tell you 1 and 1 is 2. You memorize that, you don't know what it means, but it sounds so good and it makes mommy smile when I say 1 and 1 is 2. So I become a good little robot who repeats and repeats and says all of these wonderful things. If I say it right, it makes her so happy and life is good. So we have been trained to be robots of thinking. That's why we want an answer. Just tell me how to do it, not how to be it. There is such a giant difference. How to be a human, not how to do human. Do you see? And as people are evolving and this energy that is on the planet now awakening so many, the invitation is, want to go for being, alive, not doing. And it is quite a journey, this transformation, because they came from, give me a quick answer, I just want an answer, just tell me fast. And that's why most people even start breathing from here and say, I breathed for an hour, Norma, nothing changed. Well, the thing that changed was you spent your hour breathing, not whatever you had been doing. It makes them a bit angry with me at times. It's like, I've got a half an hour. Do you think we could fix it by then? I go, I'm going to watch how it works for you.
Part of the pattern of this problem solution, question answer, is it's the way that keeps us on the treadmill of duality. I noticed in my past that I would have a problem, I'd find a solution, and then pretty soon that solution would become the problem. And I'd have to find another solution to the problem that was a solution, kept me on the treadmill of duality. When one begins to allow their soul in and begins to feel this love of self, one begins to realize there really are no problems or solutions. There just is. It's the difference between being in duality and being in the oneness with your soul. So you begin to let go of the problems, not solve them. Because it just, one problem begets another problem. And that's why I say when I went through this with the cancer, I let go of all the problems I had because first of all, I just couldn't do anything about them. But then they went away. It was not a problem. It was just a game humans play to keep them in duality.
Some other things you invite people in your workshops and schools is to the discernment, like the voice of the mind tells you a lot of stuff, and to recognize the soul voice, the whisper from inside. And we see a lot of people fighting with that, struggling because they keep believing, I don't hear my soul. I don't hear my soul.
I met those same people.
I know your answer first is then keep breathing.
I still don't hear my soul.
Yes. Do you have a second suggestion?
Quit talking and notice the stillness when you quit talking, and you will begin to notice the two voices. This one who is eager to, but, you know, come on, hurry up, we need some answers, we are in a hurry. But so in your stillness of not talking, you can begin, because most people say, oh no, I didn't hear anything. But if they're willing to stop talking, they can begin to be honest and notice what this voice is saying. You should, you have to, there's a right way, you're obviously doing it the wrong way, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea? And this other voice can be heard, and people get so upset because their soul says, I love you. It's like, I don't want to know she loves me. Tell me something important. I hear that so many times. And yet the most important thing in the world is actually hearing the sound of your soul announce very clearly, I love you. There is no connection on the planet like that one. It is like hearing your child for the first time say, I love you. There is magic in hearing your soul. So daring to talk less, listen more. It is a big challenge sometimes.
I would venture to say that everybody in this room, those listening or watching this, have heard their soul and followed the guidance of their soul. You wouldn't be here today if you hadn't in some way, some form, followed the guidance of your soul to get to this place. So, by default, you have heard your soul. Now, it may not have sounded like you wanted it to. It may not have been like you thought it would be. So then we fight it. Well, I'm not hearing my soul. Well, you have heard it, but it's recognizing what is the sound of your soul. How did you and your soul communicate?
I know you like word games or jokes, and I saw some. It was when you have the word silent. If you shift the letters, you get silent. Hold on. Listen.
Ah, yes, yes,
Yes.
oh, yes.
So, yeah, it was like
Anagram.
daring to be silent and listen.
That's good, I'll use that.
But one of the things I have told this over and over, and I'm very sincere because we get to see how often it really happens. When people say, my soul won't talk to me, I said, well, she's so clever, she will find a way to bring you her answer. We had a lady who was struggling very sincerely about, should I go to the Owama school? Should I not go? I'm not getting direction. My soul isn't being clear. She just won't tell me. And I said, she will bring you the answer. The very next day, she woke up, started to drive to work, and there was a new billboard, a new sign out. It says, do not wait, start school immediately. And she sent us the registration and came to the school. Your soul will communicate with you. Just invite, ask, and allow.
Well, you just said a word they might not all know about. That's the Ohama School.
Oh.
Before you explain about the Ohama School, I want to share a little bit. The first time I wanted to go there, I only heard the name. So if you stop a while and you hear Ohama School and something says, yes, that's happened to me. And it took 4 years for me to come to the Ohama School before I had arranged the money and daring to come, and all the yes but things had to dissolve. One of the things that made me a little bit angry with you, Garret,
Yeah, finally.
I'm a success.
was during one of the breathing classes I attended, and I had not yet went to the Ohama School, you said, if you haven't manifested the money, if you have not manifested the means to come to the Ohama School, you're not ready for it.
I said that?
Damn.
Glad you said that.
I was, damn, I'm not ready for it. So it made me, I want to be ready for it. So maybe you want to take it from there and also explain something about the Ohama School.
Well, talk about how Owama came first and elaborate on that.
We knew that we were, Jeff Hoppy was going to have a Crimson Circle class in town, but we already had visited that class many times, so it's like, we don't want to go hear that again. We already heard that story. And it was like, no, I don't know why, we're going. Right at the last minute, we're going. And finally, the first day, it was like same class, and it's like, okay. But at the end of the day, he said, I don't know why, but I'm bringing through a channeling. It's a guest that we've not had before. And I said, now I know why we're here. And when he brought through this energy called Ohama, Ohama started talking about, I'm planning to have a school, and this school has a different purpose. We aren't going to create healers, we aren't going to create teachers, all of that's old news. We're going on beyond that. Now I sat up and I said, well, I'd like to know more about this, and I started taking notes. You have to know, I don't take notes at workshops. But I'm writing down, beyond healers and teachers, and it's like, you mean it's like there's more to live? So anyway, I'm writing down, and the more he's talking, the more I'm writing, because I'm going, wow, this energy was so big for me. I was sitting there with tears rolling down, because I'm like, I can hardly wait. Where are they going to have this? I'll be the first to sign up. And when he's finished, he said, and we'll only have one teacher, and that teacher will be Norma Delaney. And I'm going, ah. And the next thing I know, all of the heads in the room turned towards me. I look like the idiot with all my runny eyes here. And they said, when are you going to have it? And I said, this is the first I've heard about it. And from that moment on, the adventure began, because he was throwing it out there. Will you allow me to have this with you? And he was waiting for us to say yes. But of course, that only took a half a breath. I was already saying yes. And then we met with Jeff again to find out even more about this, because Saint Germain wanted to come and bring us, say, I have something I want to tell you about Ohama. Then Tobias wanted to come, so we did some private times together for them to announce we will always bring our love, we will always encircle the room with our gift, so that these people who come will be held in such a sweet, safe space. They can allow the grandness of them to come forward in such a safe way. He kept stressing, I'm going to charge a lot of money for this school. You know, if you hear that from somebody, you go, what is a lot of money? I don't know. And when he announced, I'm planning to charge $5,000 a person, I said, okay. Jeff laughed and said, Norma, don't take it personally. Probably no one will come. And you know, the funny thing was, I never felt that at all. I never doubted. Obama was so clear, he says, I don't want to have people who want to play games. By keeping the fee at this amount, I make sure I get people who are truly committed to their life, committed to going on. And so, sure enough, that is part of the benchmark. How committed are you? And we don't advertise. Obama chooses. People tell me all the time, you know, he won't shut up. He keeps saying, come to my school. We keep saying, good, we'll receive you. And so you are all invited.
But it's not really about the money. The mind says, all this stuff. It's about the commitment to self. That's all enlightenment is the commitment to self. Now, I've been going to channels since the 70s, 1970s now. Maybe before that, but that's what I remember in this body. And they're wonderful, I love them. But what I used to do, I would hear a channel say something, and then I would believe it. I would turn it into a belief. It sounded right, and I hope it's right. I would turn it into a belief. And the problem with a belief is, it's not real. The next step is to take my beliefs and actually become it. And this is the step Norma is inviting. Are you willing to take the belief, I am God also, and actually become God also? Not just believe it, not hope it, not wish it were true, but be God also.
There's another topic I would like to bring up, and that is the soul's dream versus the human dream. I remember how I was very surprised. I was in that time very dedicated to my own soul. I was so happy that my soul was there and communicating with me that I wanted to do everything she told me. Until she stopped and said, but I'm also interested in what you want to do. So maybe you could share a little bit about the human dream, the soul's dream, and how they can actually interact with each other.
For me, the primary soul dream is for the human to stay alive. If you will stay alive, we can play, we can discover, we can create. So if the one thing you could do that I invite of you is stay alive and we'll discover. That was the primary thing, the only thing Kuan Yin said. And that's why she urged me, keep choosing to live, choosing to live. When I met Serena, the multiple, it was only her soul who wanted to integrate. I could only work with her soul. But along the way, her soul said, the body is tired, there's immense pain. If she would like, she can go now. She has permission to die. The soul loved her so much, she did not want to keep pushing and urging stay alive so we can integrate, because this body had already been through a lot of pain. She said, we will stop here and we will see together. So we had to ask her body, we had to ask her soul, we had to be with this. Is it in agreement that the soul chooses to live? If she would like to be done, so be it. That is a part of the compassion. Your soul is willing, if that is what you are choosing to be done, she will go along with it. But she knows the longer we can live, the more we can discover, create, have magic, play, and amazing joyfulness together. And so that was one of the big things I noticed. It was the primary dream of soul. Stay alive. Play with me. Play with me. Soul loves to play with human, like this grand love affair. If you have a puppy that you love dearly, oh my heavens, you love to play with it. If you have a sweetie you love to love and love to play with, you love to play with. It is the same with soul. when you love them and you love to play with them, that's what I would like more of. This amazing creating and celebrating and discovering. Do you see? Does that answer what you were looking at?
This is one of my favorite topics. You know, somebody told us you could be a divine human. So I'm wondering, well, why would the soul want a stupid body? So I started talking to my soul about that. And the soul says, well, it's because when I come in through this experience of being in the body, I get transformed. But the soul says, body, I need you to help teach me how to be in this dimension. The soul has never been in this dimension before. And the body says, and so I need you to teach me how to be in these other dimensions. So it becomes a true partnership where the human is just as important as the divine. So the divine human is not the human that's the silly human with the fears or whatever, but it's the human that has the sensuousness, as she was talking about. The sensuousness of feeling the rain, of feeling the warmth and the cold, the sunshine, swimming in the ocean, the sensuousness. The soul wants to completely experience this sensuousness. The human has a tremendous gift to give to the soul as the soul has a gift with the human. So it's when these come together that we begin to truly live as we have been supposed
I love what you just shared, because what we see often is that people see their soul as some higher use, so something you cannot touch or allow to come so close and to be your best friend, instead of being the queen on the throne, so big and so far away. And what you just shared is like it's the dance of two being together, equal. And the invitation is very grand, because a lot of people see their soul, their spirit, as something so unreachable.
No. It's as reachable as the inhale and the exhale. One, the other, they need to be together so fully. Only then is it complete.
And the only thing is, how much will I allow of my soul into my body? Now, how much can I just be? We're trained as humans, you have to do. But there is no doing in being. So, when we let go of the doing of life, the busyness of life, is when we begin to experience the beingness of life. Now, somebody says, well, then I'll just be sitting on a mountaintop oming because nothing to do. That's, again, the silly mind drawing conclusions they have no idea. Because when the soul comes into the body and begins to experience the sensuousness, it wants to move the body. It wants to experience things at this dimension. But it's not doing from the mind. It's action because of the passion you have for being alive.
Indeed, and we have done, for example, workshops about abundance, and what we want to share with humans is that being here with soul, that is the abundance, and from there it moves forward. But of course a yes but question would be, okay, but I still don't have the money, I still don't have the house I want, I still don't have the partner I want, whatever people want in life for themselves. And it's kind of hard to explain, and it is not to explain from a mind point of view, that being here with soul and radiating this and having it expand throughout yourself is going to bring the abundance and everything that someone requires in their life.
Yes. And the funny joke is abundance is more than money. So many people say, well, abundance only means money. If I have money, I'm a success. If I don't have money, I'm not. Well, I don't remember. There was a guy I heard about once who walked on water and he didn't do it with money. And there's been a guy in India recently who would shake his hand and a piece of jewelry would fall out of his hand, and he didn't do it with money. He did it with energy. So the abundance of life, the abundance of energy, is something that money cannot buy. Did you know that? It is very free, but money cannot buy it. So when you are willing to allow that you have the ability to create and start creating from this joyousness of soul's way of playing, one of the byproducts is money. When I did straight one-on-one channelings, answering questions, it was a place to help me build trust with soul. Have you build trust with me and discover she's a little weird, but she does some okay things. And as we began to play together and our yes and our friendship grew, do you think in the beginning I was aware there's something like a Wama school going to come that will transform also my bank account? I was totally unaware of that. The mind, for me, has never been aware ahead of time the miraculous gifts. I did not know she and I were breathing together to become so integrated that soul and human could be a space no longer separate in the old way. I had no idea. I can promise you I have never heard of one person who did it by writing a check. So money was not the vehicle that allowed this miraculous integration. Abundant. A space so deep within you. Great joy. Great joy.
Well, what we mostly do in our webcast is breathing. What a surprise.
What a wild plan.
And since you're here, could we ask you to finish this webcast and this interview with some breathing?
My joy. So we're going to invite you who are here to participate. See, I told you you would get to participate. Yes, lie on the floor, sit in your chair, be with you. This is the exquisite time where your universe can hold still, stop all it is doing to receive. Receive. Soul wants so much to come so close to you, your soul, your brilliant, brilliant soul. It wants to come so close. Feel this, for it is only a breath away. It is right there, blowing its love into your face. Will you receive it and breathe it all the way down into your core? Breathing with your nose for the pureness of receiving. And allow it then to fill your belly so full with this joyous love. Oh, precious love. Soul is saying, let me breathe my love into your face. Feel me, receive me. And as you do that, you can then exhale. Exhale so fully from the core of you, all of the old energy that you were holding on to. Feel this, the freedom to receive and release. Receive and release this rhythmic flow. Receive and release, allowing it to slow down. Receive and release. For as the soul comes so close to breathe her love right into your face, and you breathe it all the way down into your belly, filling your belly, and then cleansing out by exhaling all that you were holding on to, your fears and anxieties. Feel this, giving yourself permission to receive new vitality, and then exhaling once more all of the old anxiety that said we must hold on, we must hold on. And yet we can surrender holding on and choosing to live, to fully live and receive. Receive this breath that has so much love, so much compassion. For this breath surrounds me, fills me, and acknowledges how grand I am, how grand I am. Will you let you feel how grand you are, one breath at a time, one breath at a time, how grand you are, how sweet we are, breath at a time, breath at a time, deeper and deeper, down into the core of self. Breathing in and breathing out, receiving so fully, releasing so fully, trusting, trusting. Soul will stay right here, loving me with every breath. Breathing in, breathing out, an exquisite rhythm. Breathing in and breathing out, sweet love affair, sweet love affair, just as we are, just as we are, for the joy of blending and melting into the one. Feel that. And so I cannot tell, are you breathing me? Am I breathing you? It does not matter. Are we the inhale or the exhale? has allowed us to blend so fully, flowing into the yes, flowing into the release, an exquisite love affair. Is it you? Is it me? It no longer matters, for the love is the we. When we become the me, the love affair has become so full, so sweet, so deep, so true. It no longer matters. Are you breathing me, or am I breathing you? It is only us that is breathing the we of me. Every breath, every breath, every breath. Great love affair. Thank you. Thank you for breathing with us now. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed this very much.
Me too. I hope you did too. Thank you for sharing your energies, all of the great